House Bill 8 was reported out of the House Commerce, Economic and Development Committee with a do-pass recommendation last week. Sticking with the legislature, a group of Democratic lawmakers is pushing an increase to the state's alcohol tax. Now, it's an issue we've covered here at New Mexico in Focus in collaboration with New Mexico in Depth for months now. Now, if House Bill 230 goes through, taxes would go up 25 cents a drink. The proposal would also dedicate an extra $155 million in revenue to support alcohol treatment centers. Now, another factor in this equation is New Mexico's nation-leading alcohol-related death rate. Last year here in New Mexico in Focus, I spoke with a panel of experts about some of the contributing factors and potential solutions. Now, during that discussion, journalist Ted Alcorn explained even slight tax increases on alcohol have been shown to lower alcohol death rates.
The basic economic principles of supply and demand say that when you raise taxes a little bit, you reduce demand some. And in this case, you particularly reduce demand by young people who don't have necessarily as much access to cash, and people that are really exposed to the price increases because they're consuming a lot of alcohol. And so the research has gone on over many years and in many states, and on my read of it all, it seemed pretty definitive that when you raise alcohol taxes, there's a reduction in consumption, and that you see a lot of reductions in the harms that alcohol can have.
You can watch that entire discussion with Mr. Alcorn, also a clinical psychologist, a primary care doctor in Gallup, and a state representative. That will be Joanne Ferrari. That's online right now at the New Mexico in Focus YouTube page. Now let's bring in our line opinion panelists to talk about the legislation at hand. The Health and Human Services Committee voted 6-4 Friday to advance House Bill 230, but it's facing opposition from the national alcohol industry and local breweries. Now, bills like this have been introduced before at the Roundhouse. And Daniel, is this the year that lawmakers approve the increase that has not happened for 3 decades plus? Is this the time?
Yeah, no, well, Gene, as we said in the last segment, and I know the senator's going to throw a pen at me. I'm never in favor of raising any taxes. We don't have a revenue problem. So, I don't know, we look at these things like, we talk about smoking cessation, for instance. We've raised the taxes on cigarettes. It's going to stop smoking. There's more people smoking today than there were 25 years ago. So none of this stuff.
That might not be true, but keep rolling. Keep rolling.
It's not wrong at all. I mean, we have. They may not be smoking cigarettes. We moved on to vape because we've created other things for them to do.
Industries are tricky that way.
So they are. So I think raising the taxes on alcohol, it's just, and especially now. I think you're going to find the same thing that's happened with tobacco. With Amazon Prime now, you'll just get people ordering alcohol from out of the state and having it shipped in just like they did with tobacco, and you don't have to pay these taxes. So it becomes a huge problem.
Let me ask the senator about this. The proposed tax would increase the state's liquor excise tax 25 cents per drink. We have some folks out there against this. The Albuquerque Chamber actually is against it, amongst others. What's the harm? 25 cents a drink. Is anybody going to not drink because of that? A 25 cents increase?
Yes, people are not going to drink because of that. And it's young people. It's people that are extreme drinkers, binge drinkers. And it has been proven in other states to decrease DWI, to decrease binge drinking, youth drinking, and I think there was a study out of Boston University that said overall raising the taxes on alcohol decreases drinking by about 7%.
That's right.
That's a study. And the other states have actually done it and found a reduction. So I think it would be even more so in New Mexico because people don't have as much money and they're more price sensitive in New Mexico than they are, think about the Navajo Reservation, think about some of the rural areas of the state. It'll have a big impact.
That's an interesting point there. I hail from a state that raised taxes on alcohol many, many years ago, Crystal. And the idea of changing behavior via taxing is a difficulty for some people. They really have just an innate, dislike for that kind of thing. But as Senator is pointing out, it does work. It does change behavior by raising taxes.
It does, and what gets really challenging and tricky to us is that we have to take into consideration how alcoholism plays a big factor into socioeconomic levels. Like the LFC came out with their report on House Bill 230, and they said the highest would be Tennessee. Our neighboring states are only 16 cents, 8 cents, and 20 cents. That's Arizona, Colorado, and Texas at that great number. I think the big challenge, though, is that because New Mexico needs more resources for public health, specifically on addiction, like alcohol, it becomes really expensive to fund public health initiatives like this. I think the big challenge that people are starting to get really upset about, though, is that this fund is that increase is supposed to fund a new project, which would be called the Alcohol Arms Alleviation Fund. And Jerry Ortiz-Pino had a similar but different bill that hasn't even made it to committee yet, where he's like, don't put it into general fund, like don't put it into back to the state of New Mexico. Further pay for DWI prevention and items of that source. And out of full disclosure, like, we currently have a client that's DWI prevention, and I can tell you that the numbers and the brand awareness and the impressions, like the End DWI campaign, not our client, but as a good example, right? That awareness still needs to get out there, and the cost of advertising and marketing is not getting less.
Thank you
and
for
less.
saying this because, again, Daniel, the problem, the numbers are not good, how we drink here. You know what I mean? The ramifications and the interview with Mr. Alcorn and others, and especially the physician out in Gallup, the costs are enormous. They may be hidden. We may not see them as regular citizens, the enormous family costs. So again, why not, Daniel, if it decreases pain out there across the state? I hear your point earlier, but why
Because
not?
it doesn't decrease pain, Gene. People find other alternatives to go to. Raising, like we hear this stuff here, like we heard just now, if we raise it 25 cents a drink, it stops youth drinking. Well, it decreases. How does it decrease it? Youths aren't buying drinks at bars. They're buying cans. They're buying bottles. They're not going to a bar and buying a shot of tequila. So at the end of the day, the problem is we, again, at this table, we have all these feel good, raise the tax, do all of this stuff. But where are we on the other side of it with holding people accountable when they commit a crime, making sure that they get the help they need, forcing them to get the help they need.
Part of the money is earmarked for that.
Well, we have plenty of money for
Very
that. We've
small
had it
amount.
for years, and we've had the laws for years, but we don't hold people accountable. Why are people, I mean, look at the news every day, Gene. There's people dying in DWI crashes that we find out that the person that was involved in the DWI crash, it's their 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time. And you're telling me the answer to that problem is to raise the tax for people that are obeying the law when we're not doing anything to hold the people who are breaking the law. And I do think there has to be a better element of the help, because there's no doubt about it. We have a whole segment of New Mexicans that you just can't lock them up. There has to be a systemic,
There's a
conscious
family issue that
change.
goes
Yes,
generation to
and we've
generation.
got to
That's
work
right.
on that. But the answer isn't to say, how do we do this? Because look, and the other problem is anytime we create these funds in the legislature, it never does what it's supposed to do. Look at the Tobacco Settlement Fund. I mean, we burned through that thing. I mean, this happens all the time.
I hear you, but let me throw something else on the table. Krista, I want you to follow up the senator on this one because I think it's interesting. We have a lot of societal change right now about how we drink. Gen X and millennials are not throwing down booze the way boomers did. It's just a fact. You know what I mean? We don't.
Have you seen me on a Saturday?
I have. And you're not as bad as boomers, trust me. And young people just don't do that. They don't get
Yes,
right. Exactly.
Well, it depends, right?
It does depend, but you know what I'm saying, Crystal? You know, in New York, bigger cities, you pay $45 for a specialty drink. You're gonna have like one or two of them a night, and you've had a great night.
Sure,
You're
but
not
you've
out there
also
throwing
heard of-
shots of tequila and
That's what pre-gaming's for, right? And so you're still going to get alcohol no matter what,
Right.
and you're still going to affect the lower paychecks or the higher paychecks that some of the folks need. And yeah, the fiscal impact of it is really going to make a change in decision making. Right. But at the same time, like you were saying, like there has to be some type of systematic change that leads a person to drink in the first place, and that's what's really going to make the differences versus let's say, for example, increasing the alcohol tax. It's just a little alarming about how high it's going to be and how, like you said, spending problem, how it's going to be spent.
Good point. Let me throw another one here for Senator Inall, if you'd like to get in on this, is that local breweries are now a big deal in our state, and they're generating a lot of income. A lot of folks are making good lives from this business, and they are opposed to this. Are they on solid footing here? Are they different than other alcohol because it's craft brew?
Well, they've gotten a tax, for example, they've gotten a tax break. We were talking about tax breaks in the past. They've gotten a tax break in the name of economic development and local industry.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you can look at it from the point of view of stopping drinking and debate whether it does that or not, or whether anything will do that or not. But you can also look at it in terms of fairness, in terms of taxation, and whether we aren't even subsidizing the alcohol industry right now in the way we tax alcohol by volume and not by price, and in the fact that we haven't changed the darn rate for 50 years. Isn't that a subsidy to a special interest, whether it be a brewery, whether it be a winery, and the same argument that you were mentioning was made for wineries, and we gave them a tax break.
That's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so it's just, to me, another example of a very powerful special interest group being questioned because of its huge advantage.
Are we at the point, Senator and House member, where this idea that these folks are all powerful has got to stop?
Well, no, that's not
Everyone
gonna stop. It's
talks
human.
about the liquor lobby
No, I
in
mean,
Santa Fe,
you
like,
can't-
oh,
And listen, the only thing, the number one issue on every legislator's mind, Gene, is reelection.
Okay.
Period. End of story.
Sure.
The worst place to be between a legislator and a TV camera. The more important thing is between legislators and fundraisers. I mean, it's all about getting reelected, and so yes, it means a lot to them. But at the end of the day, we have to look at, to the point that the senator was making, you know, I think we also should, we got to stop with all, she's right, all these special exemptions and cuts. But listen, I can tell you this, I'm not a drinker. I don't like to drink. I turn into bad Santa when I drink, so it's not a good thing for me. And so it's not I don't enjoy it. But I have we'll go out to the breweries.
Right.
I will tell you this, a lot of the breweries in town limit the amount of beer you can buy.
Absolutely.
Like you get 5 beers,
Right.
and that's it, you're done. I
Yeah.
mean, and
There's
it's
a beer
and-
limit, a 2-beer limit.
right.
Whatever the
No,
number
two.
is.
It's
it could be
usually
2 or
passed out.
3.
I've had 5.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's they're doing things that, you know, if we're saying we're raising this tax just to help with drunk driving and alcohol stuff, then if you're going to hurt an industry that's making a conscious decision to say, listen, we got a 2-beer limit, that's all you could drink in this brewery.
That's a mandate for over-serving is illegal now.
Yeah.
That's
It
not,
used to
you know,
be.
it's not 2 beers, Senator. Over-serving is a decision. The business is making a decision
Yes.
to say we will only sell you 2 beers.
Yes.
And so I think that we have to also, if we're going to punish bad behavior, we have to reward good behavior.
Good stuff there. Thanks again to the panelists of Dan Foley right there. Now, we'll be back in just over 10 minutes for a discussion on paid family leave